Hey dudes, I'm Hilah, and today on Hilah Cooking, we're gonna do a super simple and elegant chocolate tart with a Gingersnap crust. I'm gonna add a little white chocolate spiderweb design thingy in the middle because it's almost Halloween, and it's gonna look so cute, and your guests are gonna be like, oh my god, I can't believe that you made this. And you're gonna be like, hey, I'm not that bad of a cook, come on. Okay, I'm gonna use a springform pan for this. A springform pan is one like this that you might use for a cheesecake. It's got a removable bottom, and then it goes together. Slide this in. There's like a little notch around the edge that it slips into. And then to tighten it, you just close it like that. And then when you open it, you just pop it open. Your tart falls right out onto the floor. Just kidding, that would be horrible. I've got some Gingersnap crumbs here. You could do it by hand in a Ziploc bag and just beat the hell out of it, but I used a food processor because the finer your crumbs, these are almost, well, it's like cornmeal, I guess, or polenta. The finer your crumbs are, the easier it's gonna be to cut the crust later. And I've got a little bit of sugar and flour that I'm adding in there. Get that all mixed up, and then I'm just adding some melted butter. Get that stirred around. And if you wanted to use plain like graham cracker crust that you could, you can buy those already made at the store, you could totally do that. But the Gingersnaps, because there's so many spices in them and stuff, then we're gonna flavor our filling with coffee and cardamom. So it really complements that nicely. Okay, so you want something it's gonna kind of stick together. So I'm gonna add a little bit of water. See how like when I squeeze a bit between my fingers, it's not really sticking together? So I'm gonna add maybe like a tablespoon of water. Yeah, that's better. So see, it's like, it actually sticks. Anyway, I already told you that. Okay, I'm gonna dump it in here to my springform. You don't need to grease the pan or anything. Bloop. Okay, and then you can kind of use the glass to go and like push it up. You can see I'm doing that to get it up on the sides. And that's a little bit easier than trying to use your hands. It gets a little bit more even. And like twisting the glass like that, rather than pressing and lifting up, because when you lift up, it might actually pull the crust away from the pan. So, okay, that looks pretty even. Yeah, just about half an inch up. All right, I'm gonna put this in the oven at 350 for about 12 minutes, and meanwhile, we'll start working on our chocolate filling. Okay, so I've got some heavy cream in here. You wanna make sure you use heavy whipping cream, and this is a cardamom pod. They actually are much brighter green when you buy them, but these have been in my pantry for like 1,000 years, so they're kind of faded, but they still taste great. That's the beauty of buying whole spices. Anyway, what you do with these is you crack open this little shell here, and then these little seeds pop out. And usually they're black, sometimes they're sort of paler like these. But if you've never had cardamom, it kind of reminds me of like a combination of black pepper and ginger. If you've ever had chai tea, then this is one of the main flavoring ingredients in that, and so maybe that would help you kind of imagine it a little bit. And I've got about a half a teaspoon of these seeds here. So I'm just gonna crush them lightly with my little pestle. And you can also buy ground cardamom, already ground, which you could use that too if that's easier for you. Or you could use some black pepper or something instead if you don't want to mess around. Or you could get a vanilla bean and scrape out the seeds and put that in here if you are worried that you're going to buy cardamom and then never use it again. Cool. It smells like an Indian tea shop in here. All right, so we're going to drop that in. And then I'm going to add a little bit of ground coffee. And I buy a French roast, whatever, instant coffee would probably even work. A little bit of that. And we're gonna heat this up on medium heat. We're gonna stir it with a whisk just until it starts to steam, and you might see some little bubbles start to come up around the edges. It shouldn't take more than about 5 minutes. All right, so our cream is steaming. We got a steaming pot of cream. I'm using a dark, bittersweet 60% cacao. So this is not a terribly sweet dessert, which I really appreciate that about it. So that's off. And I just whacked the wrapped bars on the countertop a few times to break them up, so you don't have to get out a cutting board and do all that crap. You can just smash it. So there's 4 ounces. And there's another 4 ounces. Okay, so I'm just gonna whisk this, and I've turned my heat off. Just gonna whisk this until the chocolate is fully melted and we have like a super rich, beautiful, hot chocolate looking thing going on here. Beautiful, so it's nice and rich, chocolatey, like that chocolate over at Willy Wonka's factory. And we're gonna drop in a couple tablespoons of butter. Never said this was a low-fat dessert. Butter. And stir that around until it is melted also. Okay, beautiful. So set that over here. I've got my baked crust here, and this is still warm, it's fine. I just pulled that out of the oven a couple minutes ago. And we're just gonna pour our hot chocolatey mixture into our crust. Okay, so you could totally just put it in the fridge like this and just have a plain old chocolate tart, but I've got some melted white chocolate. I'll show you how to do the little spiderweb swirl. Okay, so for our white chocolate, I just got an ounce of white chocolate here, plus a tablespoon of the heavy cream that we had left over, and I microwaved it for about 30 seconds, and then just stir it around until you get a smooth mixture, and it turns kind of an awkward shade of yellow, but it turns white once it cools off, magically. Okay, so then, this totally does not have to be perfect. We're just gonna pour, so it helps if you have something with kind of a little spout or something like this. We're just gonna pour a little spiral out. And I don't know, I like to start at the middle, but it probably doesn't really matter. Beautiful. Actually, it's horrible, but it's gonna look great. So then just draw like spokes coming out from the center. And then these can also serve, you know, as cutting lines later on, if you want. So you could make more than 8. And that's it. So got a cute little spiderweb design there. And I'm just gonna put this in the fridge. It'll probably take about 3 hours to solidify, and I'll show you what it looks like then. Okay, it's all cooled off and ready to cut. And the great thing about this dessert too is you can keep it in the fridge for 4 or 5 days, and with, you know, no one would ever know that you didn't make it yesterday. So, you know, holiday planning stuff, you can do this ahead of time. I'd like to just pick it up and eat it like a pizza. So there's a beautiful, elegant chocolate tart that's super, super simple. If you like this recipe, you might also like my key lime pie video, also super easy, and also a fruit tart, which is just a beautiful dessert, I think. So thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe and check out HilahCooking.com for printable recipes. Now let's give this sucker a taste. Look how gorgeous that is. It's so good, it's so rich. You could really make like 16 servings out of this, no problem. And there you go. I hope you like this. Okay, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.